Hey guys, this is a longer video than I usually do, but I hope you guys enjoy it. And yeah, so here's the video. Hello everybody, my name is Milton, and today I'm going to be introducing you all to my RPG that I've been working on. Now, this is an idea that I've been, putting together in my head for a couple years now. And I started this channel last year, don't remember what time. But today I'm going to be using a script. I usually don't script out my videos, so this is going to be new for all of us, and I hope I can keep my energy up. But really quick, putting the script aside, so we've already done a video on these, so of course there's the Jonathan character pamphlet, and then of course we've all heard of Dungeons and Dragons. It's a really cool game. It is super fun to play, and you can do lots of stuff with it, like dice. And with that, you also get minis. You can paint your own minis or steal them from board games, and you can paint them and make them look the way you want them to look. This one, my brother painted for a friend of ours, and it's, my brother's way better at art than me. So, yeah. Hope he never watches this video. Okay, so, we also have, this is my original binder. This was the original logo for my channel. HB stands for Historically Based. So it was originally going to be called the Historically Based RPG, but we changed it to Savage Dragon RPG because reasons, and also Savage Dragon sounds way cooler than HB. But some of the original rules that I put down, let's see here. So originally, for fighting, first you would roll a d20. First you would roll a d20. Then you would look at this graph right here, and so the base damage. So one dice roll would give you. So if you rolled a 1 through 5 and you still hit the person, you get blah 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 blah. And it was way too complicated. And magic was even more complicated, and it hurt my brain. So I changed it. Blood loss was a thing. I don't know if I still want to do that. So blood loss is like if you get stabbed with a critical hit. I don't know if critical hits are different now, but like a really bad wound, then you would lose blood points, like 1 blood point per turn. I don't know if I am going to still be putting that in, but if you want that to be in the RPG, go ahead and comment below and say that you want it to stay. Next, we have, let's see here, magical super complicated, mutations. So on the character pamphlet on the back, it said, so with the success graph and the mutation section, there is a list of mutations that I put down. So like tentacle arm, frog leg, animated hair, so like hair that like waves automatically. Chameleon eye, gills, wings, echolocation, extra big foot, disabled limb, so like an arm or leg that doesn't work, and second head and small arms. So like with the second head one, it would be a head that hates you or something, or your best friend. And then I also wrote out the rules for creating spells, but I'm not going to go over that right now because that'll take forever. But yeah, that was the original. Oh, and this is the original character sheet that I came up with. Looks a lot like the Dungeons and Dragons character sheets. So I then came up with a different one. I don't know if I have it on here. Yeah, I don't. I then came up with a different one. It's in my first video that I mentioned my RPG. It's that one that's like on a landscape piece of paper, and it's pretty small. That was I liked that one, but then I came up with the idea for the pamphlet, so I did that instead. So ever since I was introduced to Dungeons and Dragons, I've wanted to make my own RPG, and like I said earlier, I suck at art, but I spent a good portion of, how old was I don't know, 2 years ago, I started working on a little project that was the base of what I'm doing now. So, of course, me with my little tiny brain at the time, I started coming up with these character designs, thinking, oh yeah, people would totally be down with using a pre-made character. But my original stuff ended up looking like Star Wars, and I suck at drawing arms. Well, not as bad as then. I used to draw arms like this. My arms are much better now. But, yeah, they're bad. And the rules for that little thing that I came up with in the past sucked, and I never played it or shared it with anybody, not even my family. So, yeah. And then a second draft for making my own RPG ended up in like a Sword Quest kind of thing. I don't know if any of you have ever watched Sword Quest. It's a show that lasted for like a year on, I think, Nickelodeon. Maybe it was Cartoon Network. I don't remember, but it was stupidly hilarious and I loved it. And then I drew a lot of art. Oh, I forgot about these. And then I think a year ago, when I first started working on my RPG, I came up with these two items that I'm still going to be putting in the game. So one is this mask. It's like a dragon mask that will give you the ability to like breathe water and fly. But this one is the Elder Staff. And now I know anybody who likes Harry Potter to be like, Elder Staff, that sounds a lot like the Elder Wand. That's because I had just watched the last Harry Potter movie when I drew this originally. But this is a much better rendition of it. So like snake skin and a tooth of a dragon and the horn of a dragon, wood from a specific tree, can't remember what it was, eye of something, a dragon's leg for the staff, and then on the bottom it would have like elemental stones. And so that's a bit of background on when I started making my RPG and why I started. And then I made the core rules of it, but I already showed you guys that, and then I wrote down, I'm trying to get my education done, and so I've been taking a break from YouTube and stuff, but I think I'm going to be dedicating Saturdays to YouTube and my RPG. And I started around Christmas time, I started keeping an idea journal for my RPG. So originally I was going to have all these different races. So originally there was going to be humans, dwarves, elves, orcs, morphers, which are kind of like changelings, skeletons, Atlantean, druids, and all these other things that would require a lot of work. I don't like work, but it kind of defeated the purpose, and then I realized that I was just remaking Dungeons and Dragons and just giving it a different label, which is plagiarism. So stop doing that. And then after a bit, I started coming up with my own ideas, like a smart person. I came up with the idea of being able to combine your spells and make your own spells. And then I came up with this idea of Provoked Combat. I forgot I wrote this. So pretty much Provoked Combat. Combat. Here, let me read this. Combat. You have the bad guys go until the good guys want to go. So pretty much your game master or GM is like, okay, so the bad guys are going to do this, and then if somebody's like, oh no, that's going to endanger this person, I want to do something. Then they can say, Mr. GM, I would like to do this, and interject with what they're doing. And so it's more of like a interrupt you kind of thing. But by the end of each round, somebody has to at least done something, or maybe they shouldn't have to have done something. So if you want, you can just, if you like that idea and think that's a cool idea, and if I should put it in my RPG, go ahead and comment below on that. What else did I write down in here? I'm gonna go over that later. World. And then I started making an RPG world. And then I started coming up with ideas for character art for my book. I don't know if you guys can see that. So there is the Packer. He's like a little guy who carries stuff around. The armor. He wears armor. Strunk. I don't even know why I drew this. Oh, he's based off of Kronk from The Emperor's New Groove. I was just watching that, and I was like, oh my gosh, I should have a guy like this in my RPG art. And then there's the Wizard, or what did I end up naming him? Oh, Jonathan, right. Jonathan, and then Sword Guy. And yeah, that was the art for my book. So yeah. Let me check if... Alright. How long has it been? Ooh. Okay, so to the script. So, by the way, my mom recommended that I do this, that I come up with a couple questions and answers for them. So, these are going to be things that are different from Pathfinder, Dungeons and Dragons, and specifically Cyberpunk Red. I think that's the name of that RPG. I don't know. I learned about it like 3 days ago. So, let's see here. So, on that note, what is it called? So, I already said that. It's going to be called Savage Dragon RPG, and you may be asking yourself, well, what's this going to be? What's this going to offer over Dungeons and Dragons, or Pathfinder, or Cyberpunk Red? I already said that. And all those other mainstream RPGs are awesome. And I'm going to give you guys some reasons, really quick, that my RPG is a little bit better. I wouldn't say completely better, because I'm going to make so many changes probably once I release it. But the combat system in Dungeons and Dragons sucks. And it makes me want to throw up. I'm a dungeon master, if you're new to the channel, and my hate for combat is immeasurable. Because every time my players go into combat, I'm just thinking, how can I make this as short as possible? I've even had, I think, the shortest combat I've ever had was 5 minutes, because they hit it, and I was just like, you know what, I don't care, it's dead. And I was just not in the mood that day. That was like 4, 5, 6 sessions ago, and it was painful. So, number 1. My RPG is going to have no classes. In my game, so instead of classes, your class will be determined, your occupation will be determined by collecting items and just building off of what you want and keeping what you want and getting rid of it. So if you want, like, say you have a sword that's like super cool, and then you have this bow that's super cool, but you want to be more of a ching guy than a pew pew kind of guy, then you would pick the sword. And since you have limited item slots, that's gonna force you to change how much stuff you have. And that's one thing that has always bothered me as a dungeon master in D&D, is I'm trying to keep track of everything my players have. I have my brother, he loves collecting stuff in D&D, and the amount of crap by the end of every session that he's gained, I'm just like, whoa, wait, did I give you all of this? And he's like, yes you did. I'm like, I don't remember it, but you have like 5 freaking pages of crap that I don't even remember. So yeah, your class, or your occupation or class, will be determined by what you collect as items. So you can collect wands and staves and swords And if you want, you don't have to take anything. It's your choice. It's all completely up to you. Next, magic. Dungeons and Dragons has a set list of spells. So Dungeons and Dragons has a set list of spells that you are required to use. But in my RPG, you will be able to create your own spells and even mix and combo spells to create epic, awesome effects and moments. Now that's one thing that my first Dungeon Master, I loved about what he did. He allowed us to combine spells. Of course, we had to remove like all of our spell slots for it, but it led to some epic moments. I can't remember them exactly and vividly, but I do know every time we combined some of our spells, well, not every time, but almost every time we combined our spells, it led to this epic moment that we would typically end the session on, and it was awesome. Next, diversity. So in most role-playing games, they have a specific genre or theme that they're aiming towards. And Dungeons and Dragons has a fantasy genre. Cyberpunk Red has the cyberpunk genre under control, and Pathfinder. Actually, I don't know what they do. So, anyways, my RPG is going to be able to be used in any setting, and I'm going to create contacts for fantasy, sci-fi, modern, futuristic, country, historical, and other games. So I'm going to be making different parts for my game. So I'm starting with the fantasy genre, and I'm trying to make it so that these can be used for any genre. So I'm going to have to be like, oh, so since there's magic, I'm going to have to make it so that there's like a thing that just acts like magic and sci-fi, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm also going to try to make it so that the different genres can mix. So I'm making a world right now where it's kind of like a flat world-ish kind of thing, but like the flat worlds are pillars. It makes sense in my head, but now that I'm saying it kind of doesn't make sense. Well, anyways, like one world might have had magic, so they didn't evolve as quickly as this other world that didn't have magic, and this other world that didn't have magic has like these massive spaceships and stuff. So yeah. Next, history. I'm going to be writing pre-written adventures that take place during different historical events, and you will be able to talk, discuss, and influence politics of the old world. You will also be able to learn things that you probably didn't know before. So, I love history. It's the one thing I'm good at, besides playing Dungeons and Dragons and my own RPG. But I'm gonna make it so that you can go into, let's say, the Shakespearean time period, and your character, your players, or you can go through this awesome world of adventure and be in a Shakespearean setting, and you can learn things like little facts about Shakespeare will pop up here, and then little facts about Elizabeth will pop up there, and you'll just learn these cool things throughout the game. I wrote a lot for this part. Okay, so the combat system. This is probably my favorite part about my RPG. A combat system is different than any other RPG I could find. So the way that the combat system works is that you have yourself and your enemy. First, you both roll to attack. Then whoever rolls higher will be successful. If you're the defender and you are higher, he does not hit you. And if you're the attacker and you hit him, then if you have armor on you, you will decrease the damage amount depending on how good your armor is. And shields will give you a plus to your defense roll. So, let's say you're wearing armor, okay? And one thing I don't like about D&D is pretty much your armor is you being able to not to be hit. So, like, let's say I hit you, and you're like, ah, but you have, like, really good armor, so the sword just misses you? That makes no sense. So, armor decreases the amount of damage you have, and shields make it so that it's easier for you to deflect. If you think that makes sense, then go ahead and comment below, and if you have any input, then go ahead and comment that as well. Criticism is welcome, and I hope you guys have input and things that I can improve on, both for my videos and for my RPG. And then, so that was all 5, and then some other things are there is going to be this thing called Bravery Dice. So you're going to roll a D100 or 2 percentile dice. And if you roll above a 50 or below 50, it goes above. If it goes above a 50, that's good. And so pretty much you're rolling for bravery. So like you roll high, you're brave. You roll low, you're not brave. And then if you roll a 50, you're just like meh. I'm gonna just stand here. But and one other thing is I want to input this cool idea I had that I've been wanting to put in my D&D games called crit dice. Now in D&D, you roll a natural 20, you get maximum damage. That's lame. So I made it so that if you roll a natural 20 on defense, no, natural 20 on an attack, you get to roll a D4. Okay, and if the D4 lands on a 1, I know this is backwards, but in this situation, you want to get a 1. Because if you get a 1, that is an instant kill. If you get the natural 20 and then you also get the 1. So it's very unlikely that it's going to happen, but if it does happen, it's going to be super cool. And yeah, that's all I've got. So yeah, if you have any ideas, go ahead and comment below, and I hope you guys are having a very good time. So yeah, have a great one, and enjoy your week.